State number 3 and I mean, there's NBA right now kind of on like that. Like, I need a carry thing going on. I would say, I mean, UNC, yeah, I would. We've got it happen. UNC, absolutely top 5, probably top 3. And State, absolutely not. Another percentage.
Somebody's ready to flip here. Draft, by the way.
Don't my hand. Shake my hand. Shake my hand.
Michael, shake my hand. Michael, shake my hand. No. Tim, we have an important Winter League game tonight, okay? Wait, why is it important? Very real. I'd rather stand over there, honestly. I hate that guy. You want to count card? Dude, they couldn't take it either. Me and Liam will just not play. No. You said my heart is crushed, and I was like, it's not going to be productive. And then someone else like, We're up top. Yeah, you both can observe today. Same drills as other games. You hold lines inside. That's what I thought. That was the second one. That was offense? Yeah, I didn't know that was their second. Mike, you got a bogey. You're sick. Bogey, you're sick. Mike! Get the sword! And he knows. So you don't have to accept the first offside for it to count towards their total? Yes, that is correct.
Got it. Is there even a process of accepting?
You left the discipline. So if the polling is made the polling team, if the polling team's offsides, offense has to left the discipline, and they have to signal offsides before they.
And are you shouting offsides? Are you shouting it as well, or are you just
the observer will go offsides? Okay. That the other observer will not echo because we don't want both teams thinking they were offsides.
So the observer that's on the polling team will shout offsides.
I mean, the receiving team can be offsides.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
It's almost the same. Yeah, it's pretty much always.
Oh, I've been offsides. Yeah, that's can't always run on the lines. It was that kickoff flash. It was.
It's really hard. This is like, I mean, my God. I mean, the receiving team can be offside. It's technically offside. I mean, the receiving team can be offside. Jumping forward.
No, absolutely. Yeah. On this game, man. They're stalling. It's basically like a 3-man trap. It's just like rotating like multiple teams. It's obviously a push from that line. Nobody can crash. This guy's already got it. So I heard Brown got mad at them at CCC's for it.
Yeah, Brown really are a big stick.
Yes.
They also have one player that likes to break this a lot too. So it kind of.
Saul.
I'm not going to say who. He's not Saul. Saul, not at all. How can you go wrong with a player named Saul, right?
Saul likes to break the rules for what it means to be a good ultimate player because he's so good and also so bad at normal things, like throwing forehands.
1 minute.
Zach, we got 2 Madarajas in this game. I noticed that.
Yeah, Rowan.
Oh yeah.
It's worse when they're twins. The only time you can ever know, like dead set.
Yeah, so Siraj is 4 in the white tank. And then Suhas is, let's see, in the darker maroon jersey. Yeah.
I don't know if they're looking for us. They're looking for us to go to the trap site. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Just know that that's going to be there.
UNC Dark Side, the opening goal of the match. Dark Side is starting off this action.
Archer right! Archer right!
Sol Yannick here with you.
No under!
Semi-final UNC. One of the best teams in the country.
I think a ton of familiarity between these two teams is going to lead to
Run it!
a lot of interesting back and forth tactically. Just a loose throw from number 2, Liam Searles Bowes there. And Matt McKnight, standout freshman for UNC, not able to bring it in. Maybe an injury. Looks like John Laney coming off after he got that D.
Kevin!
So we have, let's see, what are the injury substitutions here? Trevor Lynch comes in for State, and Ryan Humphrey subs on for Kevin Pignoni.
Yeah, Dark Side! Hey, Dark Side, let's get it back. Get over, Matt.
Not coming, Liam, not coming!
Gotta go, Durs!
Long discount.
Drop.
On the goal line. Gotta finish this off.
All back in!
It'll count.
Just a little miscalculation from Carolina on offense there. They got basically the initiation that they wanted, had a good deep shot from McDonald to Liam Searles Bowes. But then just loose on the finishing goal, and State fast back the other way. An inside backhand from Michael Lee to Henry Poe opened up another inside backhand away shot from Poe to Archer Gordon. And after some clutter, they were able to work it in to Robert McAllister, younger brother of Darkside alum Tim McAllister, for the goal. I think, as with Wilmington, there's going to be a ton of familiarity between the two teams, and maybe some mirror image tactics, similar offensive principles, similar defensive principles. So interesting to see the response and counter, but from the O-lines and the D-lines. I think there we saw a deep shot from Poe. He liked his matchup just because he was familiar with it. Maybe not a look that would go up in an average game. So Yeah, I would expect a lot of variety in terms of the different looks. Immediate foul from Gordon guarding Anders Youngst. Oof! Fantastic catch from Liam. So one thing to note from that defensive point, we saw UNC run a side stack flood off of the stoppage. State was totally ready for it, denied the initial cut, but then Carolina is so comfortable with the moves and counter moves within that structure where they flood their side stack, but then they have alternative counter options. They hit an under to Tommy Williams, and NC State was just trying to fall back into matchup defense after initially denying the primary look on the side stack flood, and then Carolina was able to just sort of waterfall down the field from there as NC State was recovering back into their matchups. And once Carolina gets on the goal line, it's very tough to stop them because they have so much experience working together in small spaces and so many crisp throwers. There we saw John McDonald getting it through to Mukil Guraparan for the goal.
Dark! Hey, dark side!
Yeah, wide open receiver, and liked the idea, but just misfires on the throw.
Nice, Ben. You last, Con, you last. Flat, good, Con, flat. Good, Zach. Hot, Zach. Hot, Zach. Turn around. Hey, work, Ben, mismatch, Ben. Let's go, Ben, go. Zach, find him! Zach, find him! Get under, Zach, find him! Turn under! Turn under, Ben! Oh, baby!
And that Carolina D-line just has so many options to go with on offense. We saw individual instances of really quality defense from State. We saw Connor Chickas totally deny an under to Seth Lee from the back. We saw Daniel Ferreter playing some good defense on a handler give and go. But one option gets taken away, and Darkside's got two more counter options to take. So they've got primary guys who are going to drive like Elijah Long and Tommy Williams, but it's hard to get this back from them just by playing quality pressure defense. At a certain point, somebody's got to create a small window and try to get a block on a dubious throw.
Like if we get a turn like this, no defense like that. Wait in for like the first two throws and then just ran straight on it. Okay, cool. And not like actually capture.
Yep.
And I tried talking to them.
State hasn't really beaten Carolina in a meaningful game in a long time, although they did pick up a win in a mid-season regular season game last year.
All right, let's go, Alpha! Yes, Phil. Good cut, Phil.
Trevor Lynch had some space in the back of the end zone, but started to peel his cut towards the far side, and unfortunately Shoemaker had already let it go. That's a tough mistake from Kai Marcus. He, you know, you can say whatever you want about the decision to throw deep, but you know, the fact that it is coming back in all the way up the field, having never come back in bounds, is just not a mistake you want to be making at any point.
Feel it! Around! Great deep run. Make it work. Around! Go! Yes! Wes is huge! Yes, God, way to get it back! Shooter! Ryan, under! Yes, Alpha! Bingo! Wide, go wide through!
I think while Darkside's going to be happy with, you know, generating defensive pressure and generating turnovers, I don't think they're going to be particularly happy with either of their defensive or their offensive possessions at that point. NC State not really putting them in any challenging positions. They just took a few throws that were, you know, unnecessarily challenging, or maybe they were easy looks and they just misfired on the execution. So maybe just evidence that it is still early in the season, and those things may start to fade as the season goes on. Looks like zone from NC State. I think probably a look that Darkside's going to be pretty familiar with, as it mirrors a similar defense that they have run in the past. Anders Young's looking very comfortable in it. Close on a D from Archer Gordon.
Gotta work, Paul.
Close the sideline for Pignoni.
Shooters!
Almost a little bit of a execution error there between McKnight and Youngs, but again, Darkside showing their polish on the goal line that time from freshman Kevin Pignoni with a nice smooth around forehand for the goal. We saw a matchup there between NC State captain Michael Lee and Darkside captain Anders Youngs. That's been a fun matchup between the two of them over the last few years of this matchup, and I think both of them certainly while they would favor themselves in that matchup, I think they both enjoy the challenge. That's a good question. I don't think anything has surprised me so far. We haven't seen a ton of deep throws going up, and I think that's largely because both teams understand who the primary deep targets are for the other team, and they're trying to force them into their alternative options. So maybe that'll open up over the course of the game, but no, I think this has gone pretty much according to the script so far.
Stay over him, stay over him.
Really high difficulty throw from Zach Cools there. Finds fellow freshman Daniel Ferreter on the long up line. Honestly, you know, probably the look dark side's looking to bait, and he just executed it perfectly. And that's one thing these two teams have in common is strong pipelines out of the North Carolina youth programs. Every year with talent graduating, they reload with new guys, even more polished than the guys who came before them. And we saw that there from State and from the previous point from Carolina. Got Gretsch marking Elijah Long.
Nice save, get there in! Almost saved! Oh my God!
Couple close calls there. Avery Cherno almost coming through on the block, and then the throw to the end zone. McAllister there without really an angle to make a play cleanly.
Did you mean Luke's throw to me or my throw to Kevin?
I meant Luke's throw to you, I guess. Yeah, that's more. But like, just like our energy can be a little bit more like. Good way to move.
Press it, Ryan. Good. Good, Ryan. Work over. You're fine. No in and out, Ryan. Hey, one of you. Good. Inside. Yeah, all around. Hey, Trevor, burn him.
So there we saw Carolina's Elijah Long poaching into the negative reset space, and freshman Zach Cools did a really good job of locating the open player and throwing it through the correct channel to find his guy and really unlock the offense along the other side. And now it looks like Trevor Lynch is calling a foul.
Jeremy, square. Yeah, dark side.
Looks like Kai Marcus denying Lynch the cone there. Everyone on Carolina attacking the end zone when Kai Marcus gets the disc. I think they did call the travel, and with the new addition of the rules, the play did not stop. I think
If it's a foul, you
the disc in there.
Good. Yes, Kai. Drive that field. Field, DJ. Drive!
there's Fairder again, just sort of finding a little bit of space and getting the NC State offense back on track.
Yes, Raj! Upfield, Raj! Raj, you! Hot! Come on, Jason! Work hard, Jay! Let's go!
Good resistance from Carolina on those last 5 yards, but eventually they found Chickus open on the open side. And Matt Tucker, an example of something that's become more and more common in Ultimate, which is big men with speed using their physical advantages to create, easy open looks in small spaces on the goal line. So while he's usually not involved, he's starting to learn how to use his big field advantages and apply them to a smaller field context. Wow. Hanging pull from Gretsch, although it's just going to settle down about 15 yards outside the end zone.
We're already down there! Yes, David. Gotta go flat. Shooter. Inside! Unders! Around. Get there, David! Be aggressive, J-Mac!
Looks like maybe forced middle from NC State.
Recognize middle!
Bingo!
Now from State. Lee smothers McDonald in the reset.
Bingo! All twos, all twos. All around, it's all around your Hey!
Darkside at that point did a good job utilizing break side give and go action, both to give them momentum going towards the open side, but also to counter and use that to gain yards back up that break side sideline again, which we saw there allowed them to get into the end zone. .54 Carolina right now, and I think both teams are sort of feeling each other out right now. You know, there's been pretty consistent pressure applied for most deep points, but the offenses have been pretty, or at least Carolina's offense has been pretty solid, and State has done a good job of taking advantage of the extra opportunities that Carolina's been giving them. I would expect things to open up a little bit more near the end of this half, going into the second half. Really heads-up play from Andrew Lee, jumping the lane, lays out, doesn't get it, leaves his man open, but potentially, you know, rushing the throw was Hunter Schumacher.
One of my favorites.
And I think Carolina's going to be really happy with Lee taking that advantageous poach off of his man.
Nice, Bill. Shooter.
Looks like we have, yeah, looks like Searles Bose came in on the sub, injury sub. Freshman Ben Dameron with a rope down the sideline for Andrew Lee. They are really high on this kid, and you can see why there. He's been playing really quality defense so far. Great offensive player, and clearly bought in already. Very much excited for their second break of the game. Almost fumbles the centering pass. Henry Poe crossing over for no point.
We work on it. That's what I mean. It looks like he did on purpose, but I don't think he did.
Connor Chickus and Seth Lee notably went to high school together at Carolina Friends School. They tend to gravitate to one another in these matchups.
Come on, Mike! Come on, Mike! Come on! Up!
Other way, the sprint all the way down to the end zone. Great catch. Finish it all.
Still left.
Out him! Out him!
Second instance this game of State trying to just win the open side cone for the goal, and Carolina very stiff with their defense, able to turn them away on the doorstep. Looks like D-line personnel out there to play offense for NC State.
Moderate take. Make that. Jog him out.
I was like, your guy was with the break side up. That was their only reason. Well, I told him to go straight up and take it fully straight. I feel like I mean, like, it's a good year, but like.
The NC State D-line about to play offense? It's a good question. I think that State, one thing that State has is a lot of talented deep receivers. And so Carolina, knowing that, I think if NC State can utilize the threat of their deep receivers to open up pretty straightforward open underneath cuts, that's going to allow them to move the disc up the field in a way that's less grinding than the way they've been doing it so far. I think Carolina will continue to deny the deep looks and challenge State to work it up slowly. So the more State can intentionally use the threat of the deep to open up open unders, easier it'll be for them to work it up the field and force Carolina to adjust their strategy. There's a notable difference in energy on the sideline between these two teams right now. Wow. Just an inch perfect throw from Riskretz, just over the defender, just flirting with the back line. And that's something that he's going to bring that maybe some of the other throwers on state don't bring, is that fearlessness. You know, sometimes it won't work out for him, but he has the ability to get them out of tough situations with his skill. Definitely. We've seen Carolina senior Tommy Williams going back and forth between the O-line and the D-line so far this first half, but they bring him on. Same can be said for Elijah Long, so we see both of them playing this O-point to go into half. Really play there from my perspective, showing how much had John Laney going deep, measured up where the defenders were, and threw a nice arcing receiver's edge over the defense.
Laney with the catch to narrow this game. The early proceedings of this game was back and forth, point to point, and this last stages has been rather streaky for both of these teams. Just when it looked like State might not be able to break that continuous run that Darkside had put up, just when they thought they were going to put their foot down, Alpha were able to come up with 2 big points.
Looks like State's brought Trevor Lynch over to stack the D-line. And he responds by bricking the pull at 20 yards. We got a little East Chapel Hill High School matchup here between Tommy Williams and Sean Murray. A lot of familiarity here between these two teams.
Along with the pass, down goes Youngst.
Looks like maybe a dominator set here with Long, McDonald, and Youngst. All the cutters getting deep out of the space, allowing those three to go to work.
McDonald, now Youngst. Down the middle, Garuparan. Long. Searles bows. Big bid. Doesn't come away with it though, Lynch.
Love that matchup with Trevor Lynch and Liam Searles bows.
Long. Youngst. Searles bows.
Yeah, looks like they called a travel on Elijah Long, throwing it off balance. I don't know if he changed his momentum at any point, but looks like Mitch Dangler upholds the travel call.
It'll be back with Long. Youngst. Searles bows. Gets in. And there he's able to break the streak that Alpha's been on.
Really interesting point there for a number of reasons. So we started with Carolina in the dominator set, trying to go 3-on-3 all the way up the field. We had NC State bring another defender in to make it a 3-on-4. Carolina was able to outlet it to the open receiver, where they sort of flowed on towards the end zone. And at that point, we saw NC State try to execute a switch on a give and go, but Youngst and Long are so familiar with the ins and outs of those switching scenarios that they were able to counter it with an inside shot. And had the travel not stopped the play, I would expect Carolina would have scored on the break side. And eventually we saw Liam Searles bows work free of Trevor Lynch on the goal line.
2 straight points for Alpha. One
And
now
I think
with
it should be
Darkside.
10-8.
I believe so. Alpha now at the disc. Nice look into Lynch. Is he able to keep his feet in? Yes, he was. Tucker. Chickas. Hawkins off for Tucker. Swung it over to the far side. Shoemaker. Just in front of Hawkins, uses that left hand.
Close call near the sideline, but Matt Tucker uses his very long frame to keep the foot in bounds. That's something that a lot of these NC State O-line cutters have. Height and length, allowing them to get around the marks. Liam Searles bow is locked in right now.
Lynch. Right on the goal line, Alpha. Back of it, and it's an easy catch. Successful drive for Alpha.
Pretty impressive game from Zach Cool so far. Freshman from Charlotte has shown a lot of comfort with the disc and a lot of comfort in these small margins between, success and turnover. So that's a difficult throw to execute, but he makes it look easy.
Just a 1-point game here. Alpha with a big point. Smiles on the face of the Alpha team. Things got extended after being very close early. They managed to bring it back to just a 1-point game. Getting interesting here between these two sides. Currently riding at 66 minutes total for this match. And here's the pull. Youngster's cutting, he's looking for him. Youngst downfield, makes the grab. Guru Paran. Youngster that big run, looking to finish it off. The pass is not there though. Alpha now with the disc, chance to tie it up.
Oh, John McDonald on the point block.
Immediately back with Darkside. Searles Bowes. Have a stoppage here.
John McDonald got a little recognition last year during the national final when he had a hand block Callahan, just completely intercepted the pass from the mark for the goal on the other team's end zone. Good D from Gordon on the switch there.
Youngst now trying to extend it back to 2. Searles Bowes dumps it to Zoo, and now McKnight.
More switching from State, and they've executed it really well at this point. High stall for Searles Bowes.
Youngst. Guru Paran into the end zone. The wind catches that one, and Alpha come away with it.
Looked like maybe the pressure mounting a little bit. Receiver second guessing himself when he was probably open for the finishing pass.
Oh,
and McKnight comes through on the block.
Second time we've seen this. Yep. State have had it down on this end, haven't been able to get out. To be fair, their defense has been strong enough to not let Darkside score. Will they do it on the third try?
Hot Avery, hot Avery.
Searles Bowes. There it is. Gets the foot in and the point. A 2-point game, 11-9.
Yeah, and if you give Anders Youngst enough times, try to get free on the goal line, he's gonna get there eventually. That man has the quickest first step in the college game potentially at the moment. No shade to JR. I think if we had seen 1 or 2 more completions thrown that NC State possession, we would have seen a Huck going up the other way. Because I think that is where their advantage is, going against the defense at their Carolina O-line.
2 opportunities down there on that defensive end zone where they get the turnovers. Both times they drop it. Here is another look at it. And an easy dish inside in the emphatic spike from Youngst. Past the 70-minute mark here in Chapel Hill. The Carolina Kickoff final. Darkside looking to defend their title. They've never lost in their opening tournament. Won it every year. State trying to break that streak and take their crown. Lynch.
Nice shimmy shake to get open from Chickus.
Ferreter, he's impressed this tournament. Tucker, eyes on Ferreter, no way through. Chickus Tucker.
These teams are switching on the handler motion really effectively, looking very comfortable in those contexts.
Ferreter.
Oh,
Guarded
looks like
closely.
Lynch had gotten open on the cone.
Lynch with the hammer. Switches it over. Big right hand grab from Hawkins. Stay right
One-handed
back at
catch
it.
on the hammer from Dylan Hawkins. State showing some resilience there. Looked like Trevor Lynch danced free of Ryan Humphrey, and you saw Ryan react because you know he got, but the thrower had progressed to the next look already. Eventually they were work it back to Trevor, and he had Hawkins open on the break side.
One-point game now. 72 minutes played in this one. Keep an eye on, or ear on that rather. Big point here. State D gonna try and come out with a big stop. Is there a player, perhaps, or a group of players for, let's go with NC State first, that have really impressed you in this game?
I think that the most noteworthy call-outs are going to be the rookies, the Zach Cools and Daniel Ferreter. I think, Chickus has had a good game. Trevor Lynch has obviously had a big impact offensively, and Riskretch got them a couple of those breaks pretty much on his own. But I think those things are all to be expected, and the impressive level of play from the rookies has been most important from my perspective.
You can switch that same thing over to Dark Side. They have quite a few rookies this year as well. It's the usual. Searles, Bose, Young's showing up big time. Guru Parn has gotten in on the scoring as well. Here's McKnight. He's had his say in a few matters here today.
This has been a good matchup between Archer Gordon and Anders Youngst over the course of the game. I think Tommy Williams has been maybe the most consistent impact player for Carolina so far.
Youngst to McKnight. Return pass. Searles, Bose. Youngst catches it and scores. Dark Side needed that one. Back to 2 points.
There we saw Anders Youngst attacking up towards the break side. As the disc countered back the other way, he got on his horse. Gordon overcommitted to the break side, and Youngst finding his office on the open side cone. He is tough to deal with going that way.
State have been able to get it within a finger's length, but at some point they're going to run out of time. They're going to have to come up with they're going to have to first score, then they're going to have to come up with a defensive stop.
Yeah, and I think that hold might be a tall task with, I think, probably starting D-line here from Carolina.
We just heard the horn. Speaking of time.
Algebra must be from Duluth. Soccer park, steal his lunch, Somerville youth. Can't do algebra, must be from Duluth. Duluth.
For those College Ultimate fans out there, Darkside pirating a cheer from Tufts last year. So shout out the Somerville youth.
Here it is for State. Believe the cap is on. Here's Hawkins. Chickus. Lynch.
State Cutter's getting deep. Chickus in a high stall situation.
Lynch. Surveys his options. Cools. High count.
Point block from Tommy Williams on the mark.
Yep. Force the pressure. State have got to stop this.
Woo!
Big bid coming in. Laying out is Philip Sellers. You can tell how much it means to him here. They've got to get a stop. Long. Lee looking to finish this game off and hold on to their crown. Long. Flicked outside. In the end zone, and there it is. Darkside hold on to their title. State give them a run for their money, but that'll do it. Final score 13-10 from Chapel Hill and Seoul.
I think maybe
both these
Zach,
teams can come away with something they can be happy with.
Zach, I think it's possible that was the soft cap.
Oh, soft cap?
Yeah, so we're going to add +2 to the top score here, so we're playing hard to 15, I believe. It's all right.
They just changed it, but they're not playing the new rule. They're playing the old rules.
Right. So I think we're playing to 15 here, as it's 13-10, and at the conclusion of that point, we add 2 to the top score. But that break felt like it was a long time coming for Carolina. I had a sense that if State ended up giving up the disc, Carolina was going to feel pretty good going back the other way. And what we saw was Tommy Williams creating a small window, or Seth Lee creating a small window for that right reset throw, and Tommy Williams saw it telegraphed the whole way. Got a piece of it.
A difficult climb now for Alpha. Just for clarification, my mistake, we are going with the soft cap. Not that I was cold and wanted to get out of here or anything like that. None had nothing to do with it.
I am cold, but I'm happy to be here.
We've been treated to 2 great games today, as that one's going to go out of bounds.
Hawkins just misfires on the open swing.
Long. Lee.
State defenders are close, but Carolina inch perfect with these throws, and that's Tommy Williams again working up the line.
Well done to cap that one off.
Let me find out.
And it will be the soft cap. That'll be your final score, 14-10, confirmed this time. And once again, it's Darkside holding on to their title. I'll pose the same question to you again. If there's something here that both of these teams can be happy with.
Sure, I think that Darkside's going to be happy with how well their young guys have integrated. You know, regardless of the line that they were throwing out there, it seemed like they were playing the same brand of Ultimate. Taking the same looks and generally on the same page. I think there were some mis-executions, and you're never going to blow out a team like State here, but I think generally the O-line played the style of offense they wanted to, creating space in the ways that they wanted to. And for State, I think there's clearly room to grow with the D-line offense in terms of the number of guys who can help contribute, but I think a significant strength for this team is the size of their O-cutters and how much that forces the other team to respect the deep and give them the free unders. So if they can build on that and generate a few alternative ways for them to move the disc up the field, I think that they'll feel good. Going against some teams who are not UNC.
Well, it was a lot of fun for the both of us to watch, to commentate. We hope it was the same for you. From myself, Zach Burley, Saul Yannick, as well as Charlie and Charles, who are behind the scenes. They've done an incredible job, not just today, but also on Friday. It's been so much fun. We thank you for tuning in. From us in Chapel Hill, we say thank you, and we hope to see you back here with plenty of Ultimate action this season.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Fruit Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
The JinxCam is a 25-foot tower cam system used to film elevated game footage. The system is highly compactable and can be transported from tournament to tournament and field to field with ease. The JinxCam is essentially a one-man production truck able to support live streaming of games, instant replays, and updatable scores. The elevated game footage give a bird's eye view for all of the ultimate action. The control system allows for a quick and smooth transition from end zone to end zone during pulls and hucks. Due to the height and angle of the JinxCam, coaches, players, and fans are given a full field view of play formation and development. And lastly, it's great for highlights.